The Wellness Show, Episode 42.
Welcome to The Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyson Bannigan, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more.
Okay.
So welcome to the Wellness Show, and I'm excited today to have Elysia Hartzell on the call today. And I know that she's doing so many exciting things. I've been following her for a while, and so it's a great pleasure to have her on the show today and help us come up to date with what she has in mind. I know that she's about to launch a brand new way in which she can work with clients. So without further ado, tell us a bit about who you are and what's up in your life.
Great. Thank you, Tyson. So I am a healer and a spiritual coach, basically. I use a lot of different modalities and methods, some of which I've just completely merged into my own thing. But the foundation of what I use is a modality, or really a philosophy called ThetaHealing. And in ThetaHealing, we connect to the creator of all that is. We go up into the seventh plane, and all of the healing is done through the creator. And it's the most powerful source method that I've ever come across. And so no matter what I do, whether it's, pulling trapped emotions or changing beliefs or working on past lives or clearing entities or, any of the many, many things that I end up working with, I'm always going up into the seventh plane and connecting with Creator. Therefore, all of the healing and everything that I do is being done actually by Creator.
Well, that's fantastic. I have some basic training in Theta myself, and I do find it extremely powerful. The concept of always connecting to source, to be guided by source, and to go to source for assistance is something I'm learning how to do, which is all behind the big idea, the concept of surrender.
Right. Such an important and sometimes difficult concept.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Difficult. I don't know about you, but my mind wants to tell me how to run the show, and I've been educated that way, that I've got to think smart, be smart, show up, work hard in order to succeed. And the thing that Theta really teaches us is no, you just have to be still, and you have to go to Creator and ask. And when you ask, the door is open. So it's really, for me, a new way of being. It's more of allowance rather than trying to control things.
Yes. Surrendering to the unknown is one of the biggest challenges that I've had in my life, sitting with the unknown future. And that's one of the big lessons I've learned recently.
Well, the nice thing about sitting with the unknown is the possibility of unlimited potentiality. That's the exciting part. Even though it's scary, there's almost unlimited possibilities that could show up in every moment. So,
yes.
How do you work with clients? Do you work with them one-on-one? Do you do group? Do you do both? Tell us a bit about how you work with clients.
Yes, I do both. And I just find so much joy in working with groups. Over the last year and a half or so, I've done a lot of group webinars and group programs. And a month ago, I was guided to actually offer an hour-long group healing for $10. We cleared 8 of the biggest money blocks, basically. And I was just really given this guidance by Spirit. And so, I posted it about 2 weeks in advance, and over 115 people signed up for the call. And I did this call for $10, which is, most people can afford $10. And for those that came to me and said, I really want to be on it, but I can't even afford $10, then of course I offered them that call for free. And so just kind of the inspiration that was born out of that, out of seeing what need there is for affordable healing, I created the idea of a membership program for $10 a month. And so for $10, and that price is going to increase somewhat over the next month. I think I'm increasing it to $19. I'm kind of playing with the idea. I was going to increase it to $27, and then last night I just started feeling like I really want to keep it really low and really affordable and really super accessible. And as always, I don't advertise this necessarily when I'm posting about it, but if there are people out there that really can't afford, $10 or $20 a month, then I will definitely give them the membership at no cost, because I want people to be able to get the healing that they need. But this idea just sort of was given to me by Creator. And so we're having our first call the first Saturday of June, and it will be every Saturday. And everyone who's in the membership receives access to all call recordings. And the way that energy healing works, or spiritual healing works, is so amazing, because it's all, as you know, it's all outside of time and space. And so therefore, I can work with someone in India, or Australia, and they get the same healing that they would if I was sitting right next to them, touching their knee. And it works the same way outside of time. So anyone that actually listens to these recordings in the future actually gets the same healing that they would if we were sitting right next to each other in the same time. So it's that just makes me so excited, that concept, because it opens up so many doors. So everyone in the membership gets access to all call recordings, and I also put in the group a 30-minute healing meditation where I guide everyone up into the Theta brain state and into the 7th plane and facilitate some healing there. So it's a lot of healing for a super affordable price. And when I started my healing journey, which was about 9 years ago, I had a really traumatic experience, and it caused me to just hit rock bottom and question everything that I knew. And so I just sort of built myself up from there and really started healing. I literally could not afford to buy a book about healing. I had to go to the library and check out everything in the Dewey Decimal 158 section. I know that section very well.
Yeah,
I do. Yes. I checked out everything I could get my hands on, and eventually, worked my way up to being able to work with other healers and, invest. I ended up, over the years, I've invested thousands and thousands of dollars in my own healing and training. But, I started with not being able to even buy a book. And so I want people to have access to the kind of healing that, if I had had access to what I'm offering at that time, it would have taken me so much less time to get to where I am now. And I want people to be able to do that, because our world is speeding up. Things are speeding up and changing rapidly. And I want people to be able to keep up with that in their own lives and be able to get the healing that they need. So I do that. I also have group programs.
Can I just interrupt you just for a sec?
Yeah.
Because you're in the flow, and I'm finding, wow, that's just really exciting stuff. So first of all, congratulations on that. I love the idea that you're going to leave nobody behind. To me, that's really, really important. I mean, that's where you come from, right? You come from nothing, and you know what it's like. So I appreciate that. I do the same with my clients. Let's not leave anybody behind. And then behind that, which is exciting, is that you have the prosperity aspect. So you can actually help people raise their prosperity bar, so to speak, so that they can pay for your more advanced programs. So that is really a nice connection that I see that in the work that you're doing. That's what inspired me. So I know you want to continue on with some of your other programs, but could we actually talk about prosperity just for at some point? Because I think it's one of the biggest barriers that everybody has. And would you be willing to actually do one of the ones that shows up with your clients the most? Could we actually do one right here on the call and give everybody a taste of who you are, so they understand what it is to come and play with you and what sort of things are going to happen to open them up to a whole new way of being? So that's
absolutely.
Right.
I love this. Okay, so let me just kind of tune in and see what's going to be the most optimal thing to clear on this call right now. Okay, so the first thing I'm hearing is shame, guilt and shame around money. And this can come in so many different forms. It can be our own guilt and shame for either a perceived way that we handled money wrong, or an actual, trauma that we've had around money. A huge source of shame for some people is, financial failure, some sort of financial failure like bankruptcy or foreclosure. So many people a few years ago went through foreclosure on their homes. Losing a job, that sort of thing can really cause a lot of guilt and shame around money. This can also be something that we pick up in our DNA. So if our family members, as we're growing up, if our parents experienced this, or even 7 generations back. So science is catching up with spirituality, and science has actually proven that we carry in our DNA beliefs and imprints of trauma from our ancestors 7 generations back. And then, of course, we're all also connected to, the consciousness of everyone. We're all connected. And so we can be carrying those traumas and energies of guilt and shame, even farther back from that. And I have a belief personally in past lives. And so I believe that we can actually carry a lot of that stuff in from other lifetimes and other times. That's my own belief system. You don't have to subscribe to that belief system for this healing to work. So I'm just going to tune in to the group of anyone who may be listening in the future to this. And I'm just going to say out loud the way that I heal things, or that I ask for things to be healed. So I'm going to ask Creator that anywhere anyone has ever experienced financial trauma, guilt or shame around their own handling of their finances or money, or their own handling of their jobs, anywhere anyone's ever been fired from a job, lost their job, filed bankruptcy, not, had to pay their bills late or not paid their bills. I'm also hearing things like having your utilities turned off or your phone turned off, anywhere anyone's experienced that kind of trauma, losing their home, anywhere that anyone's carrying the imprints of these in their DNA and ancestry, and all oath, vows, agreements, and contracts anyone has ever made to carry guilt and shame around money, anywhere anyone believes that they are irresponsible with money. Let's change that. Let's also include all oath, vows, agreements, and contracts of poverty that anyone is carrying either in their DNA and ancestry, or may have brought in from a previous lifetime. Let's mark all lessons needed to learn, downloaded and complete now, and rewire the brain, the heart, the DNA, the cellular memory, and the Akashic records. Creator, permanently and completely complete this and change it. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to do a few downloads also. So Creator is commanded to download what it feels like to know that you handle money and finances and wealth and abundance responsibly, that you know how, when, and that it is possible for you to handle money, wealth, and abundance in the highest and best way, and that you already do this now. So Creator, let's download this on all levels, in every cell of the body. Creator, change this. And let's download what it feels like to know that you are already abundant, that you deserve unlimited wealth and abundance, that you know when, how, and that it is possible, and that you already do live this way now on all levels in every cell of the body. Creator, change this. Let's download what it feels like to know that you are, what it feels like to be confident in creating, manifesting, handling wealth and abundance in all areas of your life. That you know when, how, that it is possible, and that you already live this way now on all levels, throughout every cell, across all time. Creator, download this. Okay, that feels really good. So the word, it's interesting, the wording with every group is just a little bit different. So that's one of the main, guilt and shame, are really the lowest vibrating emotions. And if we are carrying those emotions, then it takes up so much energetic space and it really lowers our vibration, and it makes it difficult to create the wealth and abundance that we really deserve. And I believe that it's really important for people that are higher vibrating and people that are spiritual to actually have wealth and abundance, because that will really change the world, because you can do so much good in the world, with money. I mean, it takes money sometimes to really make changes. And
Absolutely.
so many people, yeah. And there's that kind of a way of thinking out there that's really changing and really shifting quickly. But it's been kind of a way of thinking in the past that you can't be spiritual and wealthy at the same time. And that's really, I'm seeing that shift in people a lot. But it needs to change, because if the people that are, greedy and selfish and out for themselves are the ones that are wealthy, then that's what's going to continue in the world. And so that's just my feeling about that it is shifting, and I'm happy to see that, and it needs to shift even more.
Yeah, I think you've got some of the fundamental aspects going in your belief system around the shift that we're in. And one is that, you may be wealthy and you may have been successful, but if you're spiritually impoverished, which many, many wealthy people are, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them are, particularly in the area of rock stars, movie stars, and athletes, that, what is poverty and what is wealth? I mean, if you feel like poor in spirit, even though you're surrounded by riches, then, what have you gained? But what you're talking about is completely different. You're talking about being guided, and you're talking about going to source and being led that way. Not only that, you're building community. You're building a community of like-minded people, knowing that collectively we can change the consciousness on the planet. And then thirdly, which is exciting, is you're doing ancestral clearing. And that's really important, because our children's children and our grandchildren won't have these blips in their DNA or this toxic emotion that overshadows who they are, so that they can come forth and shine in their light. So I think what you're doing is really, really powerful. And I'm glad that the whole idea of wealth and abundance is foremost in your mind in helping people do that. You said that something that really caught my attention also, and that was that you've used Theta in the area of dealing with entities. And I find that really quite curious. And the reason I'm asking you, and I don't know if you know, is that I am an exorcist. So I get really people, particularly spiritually advanced people who get themselves into trouble. My job is to help get them back in their body, get out of the trauma, overcome that, take back their personal power, so they can deliver their divinity and their gifts to the world and help make it a better place to live. And so I picked that up right away. I find that really exciting that you can use Theta in that way. So could you say a few words about how you use Theta around that?
Absolutely. So I feel so important, because a lot of healers work in a way that it's kind of the old way of shamans, where shamans would have to take on, the thing that they're healing.
Yes.
And shamans would actually die. They would actually, have a little small death and then come back to life as they were healing people. And I had a real problem with this when I first started doing healing work, as I would take on people's entities. And in fact, I had one experience where I had worked with a client who had a lot of entities, and I was, helping to clear those and send them to the light. And I was working upstairs, and I came downstairs, and my 3 daughters and my dog and my daughter's boyfriend were acting crazy. My daughter was crying, and just all 3 of them were just acting crazy. And my daughter's boyfriend got really sick. And I realized that everyone had entities attached to them because of the work that I had been doing. And that was really scary. And so I cleared them and sent them to the light. But I really had to learn how to prevent that from happening. And so what I do, and what's so amazing about Theta healing, and I feel like every healer should really kind of explore this concept, because so according to Theta healing, there are 7 different planes, and people work with these different planes. There's, the plane of crystals, and in the plane of shamanism, in the plane of angels and guides. And we want to work with these things. We have all of this available to us. But if we're actually going directly to, so say the plane of angels and guides is also the plane of dualism. And that's where, in between some of those planes is where like waywards and fallen are. Yeah. So if we're actually going to those planes directly to work with, say, angels, which is a very powerful energy to work with, but if we're going directly to those planes without going up to source first, we open ourselves up to the rules and obligations of those different planes, and that's when we can become attacked. And so if we actually go up to source first and then connect to those things, that really protects us. And one thing that I do is I downloaded myself with the command, and I can do this for everybody here right now on the call if you would like, but I downloaded myself with the command that if I do take on anyone's pain or sickness or energy or entity, that it automatically and instantly is transformed and taken to God's light. And that has really made a huge difference for me. So would you like me to give everyone that download?
I think that would be absolutely ideal. So let's do that.
Okay, good. So Creator, it is commanded for everyone listening and agreeing that anytime we take on anyone's sickness, pain, negative energy, negative emotions, or any entity that comes into our field, it is automatically and instantly transformed and taken to God's light to be transformed. Creator, download this for everyone who would like to agree. Thank you. And if you would like that, just mentally agree that you would like it, and you will get that download. So I don't ever advertise this or talk about it, but somehow people come to me all the time for clearing entities, clearing their houses. And all that I do with that is I just go up to Creator, go up to the 7th plane, and I ask for it to be done. And it's a really powerful way of doing it. There's some more complicated things that need to be done sometimes, as I'm sure you've experienced much more than I have in the work that you do. But it's not something that I'm afraid of, because I'm doing it through Creator. A lot of people are kind of afraid of that kind of work, and I've never been afraid of it because I'm not trying to do it myself. I'm just asking God to do it.
Yeah, I've never been afraid either. And, I must say that I've always felt close to Archangel Michael, which is, one of his mandates is to clean up the planet. And I'm not sure not just the planet, but probably the whole solar system and all of creation. So, but yeah, I really love the way that you're saying it. So on the individual basis for somebody that feels that they have entities, it's important to reach out to somebody like Elysia or reach out to myself and get some assistance. If you feel stuck, you could, and if I'm understanding you correctly, go to Creator and ask that these be taken from you and taken to the light. So there's no reason why you couldn't, if you feel comfortable, to be able to do it for yourself. Am I understanding correctly?
Yes, absolutely. I believe everyone has these abilities because all it is a connection to source, and we are all constantly connected to source. So yes, I believe that people can definitely do that themselves. Sometimes it's hard to see stuff in ourselves, and that's when I really like to work with another healer. But when I do it, I command that creator, take all, I use the term wayward. That's kind of I think that might be a Theta healing term. So wayward, all that means.
I like that.
Yeah.
Word is a great word. I say all that no longer serves you, or so yeah, whatever we use. And I love the fact you're not getting into the judgment around it either, right?
Oh, no, definitely not. No. And then I also, an important piece of what I do that I feel is important is I command that they are taken to God's light to be transformed, rather than the light to be transformed, because there's many different lights, sources out there, and they can come back if they don't go to God's light, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The other thing that I'm beginning to find is that more and more working with like-minded people around this work becomes more and more clear to me that to bring the light in really is a team effort or a community of like-minded. I don't like the word spiritual warrior, but maybe light warrior, or I don't see this as a war, but a group of like-minded people that's focusing on this work, cleaning up the planet of trauma, seems to me one of the important phases that we're in as we go to bringing this new way of being on the earth. And I think that's part of your work too. You have a real feeling that we're on a new way of emerging, or we're in the midst of an emergence of something new. So you want to talk a little bit about that from your perspective as well?
Great. So in the time that I've been involved in this work and learning about all of these things has been about 7 years. And I've noticed that the world has changed so much in that amount of time. And it seemed at first like I was seeing more of it because I was more aware of it. But over time, I've realized that wasn't the only case. People are waking up and opening up and raising their vibrations, and really shifting at just a rate that seems remarkable to me. And when people raise their vibration, so if you're familiar with the vibrational scale that David Hawkins talks about in his book Power versus Force, it's a vibrational scale from 0 to 1,000, and the lowest vibrating emotion is shame, as I mentioned earlier, and then the highest is enlightenment, like what Jesus or Buddha would be at. And you can actually measure the vibration. And so when people raise their vibration to about 500, which is the vibration of love, people around them, it shifts like hundreds of people around them. And so the more that's happening, the more everybody's vibration is raising, the more the vibration of the planet is raising. And one proof of that is that I've been doing DNA activations for about 4 years. And 4 years ago, you had to, really pretty much everybody's DNA that hadn't been intentionally activated needed to be activated. And now people are just spontaneously having their DNA activated. And that's really amazing to me, because that just really speaks of how quickly things are moving. It feels like time is moving faster. And the world is just, I believe that even a couple years from now, the world will be kind of unrecognizable to how it is now, in the way that we do things, the abilities, even the medical world. Everything is just shifting really quickly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it at the beginning of the call that science is beginning to catch up with the spirituality, and we're realizing that junk DNA is actually spiritual DNA. We're realizing that we can rewrite our DNA, that we can actually turn the clock back if there never was a clock. So anti-aging is, so literally by talking to our DNA, we're in full control of the spaceship that we call, our Earth body, and that's time for us to wake up and take over the controls instead of operating on automatic pilot. So I agree with you. I think that we're in a very exciting new era, that what has been happening over a short period of time will only speed up more and more and more. That's exciting to me, and it's a good news story, I think. So, yeah, I think we're getting close, unfortunately, to the end of the call. But I still want you to talk about how people can get hold of you and what sort of ways that they can work with you, because I think it's obvious to people on this call that you have some real gifts to offer. So could you give us an idea how people can get hold of you?
Yes, thank you. Wow, this half hour went by really fast. This was fun. So people can get a hold of me on my website, which is just my name, ElysiaHartzell, ElysiaHartzell.com. And the membership I mentioned at the beginning of the program is under services. So if you're interested in finding out more about that, that's the most affordable way to work with me. I don't think it could be any more affordable unless it was free. And also, as I mentioned, no one left behind. So if you really cannot afford $10 a month, please reach out to me because I will give that to you. And then I go up the ladder from there. I have group programs, but I usually have one ongoing. They're usually 9 weeks long. I'm about to start one in July. So in about a month, I'm going to be starting a new one.
What's the name of that?
And then, of course, so that'll be on my website as well under services.
Okay.
I haven't posted about it yet. And then I have a couple of e-courses. Also, I have a manifesting e-course, and I have a 7-day power cleanse to really clean you up over 7 days. Those are both on my website under services. And then I also have a Facebook group that I do a lot of free stuff in there, and that's called Manifesting Magic with Theta. So those are the two best ways to get a hold of me. And I also have a business Facebook page, Elysia Ann Coaching, that I keep people updated on what I have going on that page also. So I would love to see anyone who's interested in any of those places. You can find me on Facebook or on my website.
Great. So the show is called The Wellness Show on health, wealth, and the new part is enlightenment. And today on the call, we talked about two of those aspects, which is health. I mean, we didn't talk about health yet, but really behind it all is health. But we talked about wealth and we talked about enlightenment, and that's pretty exciting. So as we wrap up in the area of Theta and the work that you do, I'm sure that you probably do things around health as well. Is that correct?
Yes, I actually do. I do energetic allergy clearing with my partner, Kimberly Pengelly. We do a lot of things together, and that's like a huge component of health. And then of course, any work that you do is going to increase your health. I mean, it just is. Any energetic clearing that you do is going to increase your health. You can clear and heal a lot of things just with Theta healing, but the energetic allergy healing is a kind of a specialty thing that I do, and I do that for my people that I work with one-on-one in my 12-week program. And then Kimberly has a program as well that she does. She does a little bit more in depth. That's one of her main focuses, where it's not my main focus. But I could talk an hour-long program about just the allergy healing. It's really amazing.
Well, give us a quick insight as we wrap up around that, because allergies are really, for a lot of people, they're a great mystery. And so having worked in this area, what are some of the things that you've learned about?
So an allergy is just basically anywhere that something causes inflammation in your body. And a lot of people think, oh, I don't have any allergies, or I'm allergic to cats, and that's all. But we can actually be allergic. We can be allergic to people. We can be allergic to ourselves, to different parts of our body. And so we really start with this healing. We start from the foundation. We clear the building blocks. People a lot of times are allergic to vitamins and minerals, and so they're not able to properly assimilate the food that they're eating. And so just by clearing the basic foundations, like vitamins and minerals and grains and dairy and yeast, can make a dramatic difference in the way people's bodies function and the optimal state that their bodies are in. And then you can go really in depth with allergies, and we've actually seen diseases being healed just by clearing allergies. So it's an in-depth topic, but it's a very worthwhile thing to check into if you have any health issues. And if that's something that interests you, you can email me from my website about that.
So really, allergies are your body giving you a wake-up call.
Yes, I believe that pretty much any physical symptom is your body giving you a wake-up call.
Great. Well, there we are. We've covered a little bit on health. We certainly did a little bit on wealth, and we did a little bit on enlightenment. And so we covered off the whole area of what gets me up in the morning and my passion. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. I am excited about you finding the clients that will take you and them to the next level. And I'm looking forward to the fact that we're working together to clean up this planet, 1% at a time, starting with ourselves. So thanks for being on the call. It was great. And we'll have you back. So when you're ready to launch your next new program, let me know, and we'll have you back on the show so you can let everybody know. All right. It's been a pleasure.
Great. Thank you, Tyson.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, theWellnessStore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at theWellnessShow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.